though hundreds of hours of televised work have been locked in the vault forever. In his prime years, Michael Barrymore could do no wrong. With an absolutely adoring fan base, on a level I genuinely compare to that of Michael Jackson, his audience felt such a personal connection. They'd think nothing of interrupting shows by coming up to the stage to give their mate Michael a present or a kiss. But now, in our arrogance of today is always best, he's become the figurehead of a forgotten, embarrassing past. Like a grotty one-night stand, or the time you messed yourself on a school trip, only for a whole country, watching in their millions as he strode into the audience to tip the contents of old ladies' handbags all over the floor, while doing a John Cleese walk and voice. And we lapped it up like street dogs. Tastes change and standards evolve, but were we all hypnotised? Barrymore's talk show differed from the usual, in that he didn't interview celebrities, but real people, having light-hearted chats ranging from pensioners with a party piece and precocious children, to...
You'll probably remember the film Dance with a Stranger about Ruth Ellis, the last woman to be hanged in Britain. Please welcome her daughter, Georgie Ellis. Here she is.
This segment in itself is noteworthy, demonstrating the rare occasion Barrymore meets a guest that's impervious to his antics, which breaks the established format.
You were a model, were you?
Yes, I was, yes. How did you guess?
Yeah. All right, okay. Obviously the cabinet wasn't locked before I left.
No doubt due to what must have been a terribly hard life, Georgie had her problems with alcohol, which is apparent here. Though she's been wheeled out for one of his piss-take interviews, they're on completely different frequencies, and his prating about hits a brick wall. Put on the back foot, it's a weird and aggressive atmosphere, dropping the act to patronise and berate her.
Are you like you are all the time?
Well, no, I don't normally have red lipstick on, and I don't normally wear a gown like this, but in the main, yes.
No, it's not, no, what I mean is that you, no, I meant like, you know, you're sort of, how you are, you know. Have you always been like how you are? You're not...
Have you always been like how you are?
Yeah, I admit it.
She loved it.
Imagine being psychoanalysed by Michael Barrymore.
I just need to ask you, do you think the way you are is anything to do with the way your mum was? You put a defence mechanism up?
Of course.
Which is this,
yes.
What you give off at the moment? Not now, because you're talking a lot straighter at the moment, but I'm sure that won't last. You know what I mean?
You could.
Well, whatever. I see, you see, if you muck around or you give off a certain air, it saves people asking you questions. You mean that?
There is a
Well, that's a bit difficult when you come onto a chatty type show like this, because we need to ask questions.
You can see the way he was hoping it would go, making references to her boobs and comparing her to Pamela Anderson.
Oh, the hills are alive!
But unable to clamber on her lap and pretend to breastfeed like he was probably hoping, the whole interview seems to crack him.
Oh, look, there's sheep all over the place. Nobody takes a drop kick like Marie. I'll come back if you get somewhere near this planet, all right? I'll come back.
Yeah, mate, she's the one being odd. Again, on the booking sheet as daughter of the last woman in Britain to be hanged.
Yes.
Help. Who was your mum? Let's get sort of back on track, shall we? Who was your mother?
Ruth Ellis.
Ruth.
Mother was a great fun girl. Lots of fun, lots
There
of
you are, I knew it was in you, there you are.
After grunting at her answers, he then asks this.
You going to do a couple of songs for us now?
Will you let me?
You can do whatever you want now.
Oh, that's all right.
No problem, this is my problem.
Oh, thank God. Some music to lighten the mood.
The lead into this is a song that my mum used to sing to me. And then the other song was a song that she used to sing to the guy unfortunate that she killed.
This is probably more like what he had planned.
With you.
were 76 hours of the Barrymore show, representing a huge, lost archive of television so fucking weird. It proves we're living in the simulation of a perverse and deranged techno-god. Though its contents are mostly forgotten, a couple of moments passed into full-on cultural folklore, whispered about like the ghost in 3 Men and a Baby, or the time Noel Edmonds' cock fell out when he was wrestling with Mr. Blobby. Remember when Barrymore did an ill-judged Coolio cover, rap and all? Remember when he sang Backstreet's Back, whipping his coat off, all sexy? These were the Bloody Mary and Phantom Hitchhiker of British variety. But then, they resurfaced, just as real, just as haunting as everyone remembered. It's like being shown footage of what you got up to when you were blackout drunk. An entire nation whooping and clapping and not only letting this happen, but bloody loving it. How many more golden Barrymore moments are lost? How many songs and interviews, cancelled into oblivion, will never see the light of day after a man died in deeply suspicious circumstances? Though we don't have access to the ITV archives, there is this, a VHS release entitled Barrymore's Best Bites and Naughty Bits. Yes, more than just a highlight reel, it's got naughty bits too, as was de rigueur in the 90s, where videos from comedy shows featuring scenes too hot for TV were big business for the Christmas market, by suggesting you might see Rory McGrath lowering himself onto a big dildo, though it was always just someone saying fuck. So what's Michael Barrymore done that can't be shown on regular TV? Was this tape originally labelled Exhibit A? Let's find out. The Barrymore theme has a very pixie-ish quality. Oh, here comes Big Michael Barrymore! As a best of, with clips selected by Michael himself, it's a good window into what he considers to be his best work, worthy of releasing commercially.
Hello and welcome to Barrymore's Best Bites and Naughty Bits.
Unable to flail about on stage, he doesn't know what to do with his body. Mental note, fold arms like a human being would do. We kick off with classic Barrymore. This is what he built his entire career on.
Here we go, late coach party.
Going into the audience to humiliate people, or throw them out of the theatre, is what made his act feel so unpredictable. But the more performances you see, the more the identical, contrived nature of it jumps out. It's merely the illusion of spontaneity, a physical catchphrase. And he's off!
Hey love, how are you? How you done? Yeah, where the bleed know you been? Hey, stop stuck in the traffic! Oh my God, hello, come here son.
This old boy is your archetypal Barrymore mark. Someone he definitely isn't laughing at or being condescending to.
What happened then?
Stuck in the traffic coming up.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
What do you want?
Nothing. You can take us to our seat.
What?
Follow you to the seat.
What? All right, Pop, where are you going, Pop?
Oh, there he goes. Barrymore invented parkour. I'm being snippy about it, but this demonstrates exactly why he was so popular. The curtain between performer and audience didn't really exist with Barrymore, and consequently, the people at his shows saw him more as a friend, or a lovely cheeky grandson. There's always somewhat of a stag-do atmosphere, everyone a bit giddy in his presence. willing to go a little further than they normally would.
What'd you say, love?
Saw Wellington Pier twice.
Who's running the show anyway?
You what?
I've got double time in a minute.
Just look at the speed of them joining in here. Within 2 words, the whole studio's right along with him.
Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer to.
If he'd asked them to, this lot would have killed for him. We could have had another Jonestown on our hands. Welcome to Jackass.
Wasn't my legs you went for there, was it? Legs you went, why? At least you had the right width, girl.
Hold on. Width? Must be like the Ice Bucket Challenge when he goes for a whittle.
You made me up fully tonight, Janice, didn't you? Right the way through. You didn't have enough makeup, wasn't it?
This distinctly bluer, trouserial tone continues throughout.
Imagine her in bed, can't it? Come on, get on!
You might be expecting the good boy of Strike It Lucky, ITV's Hulk Hogan, but let loose on the freedom of videotape. This is stone cold Michael Barrymore.
Sit on that, Barrymore!
No. What? No. Oh. And this tape's got everything. Music. Danger. More music. An old man with his flies undone.
Early flies run down. Whose flies run down?
Hey?
He's a nice Yiddish boy, I can tell.
And lots of interaction with the public. Like pretending to confuse a bald man for Ross Kemp.
Hey, Grant. It's Grant.
And of course,
You shouldn't be here at all.
what kind of posture is that? Sat like a gorilla. Nobody really did interviews with regular people like this, before or since. And it's a cultural precursor to the auditions in X Factor or Britain's Got Talent, showcasing eccentrics, characters, and not laughing at them at all.
Rosie, you are my posy.
They did tend to follow a pattern of bringing on people unused to and uncoached in being interviewed on television, so he could pretend to be bemused.
Harold, sit yourself down, make yourself at home. Don't worry about the cushions.
Barrymore doesn't seem himself in these bits, trapped in an empty room with a camera, no audience to play off, and everything phrased like it's been run through Google Translate and back into English.
And it's just as well I learnt language at school.
If there's one thing he understands the comic potential in, it's foreign languages.
What's that in there?
Tunga!
And then,
My little girlfriend is 16 years old, plenty of tunga.
some of these clips are bloopers, a sort of "it'll be all white on the night." Are you one of those people whose glittering career came to an end after a man was found dead at your house and nobody was brought to justice? There's also this unseen prank on three women who pop to the toilet, only to find Big Mike's given up their seats to soldiers.
Sit down, and when those three birds come back, jump on them, all right? Got a problem, girls?
But this is the mid-90s. These are Barrymore fans, and they're well into it.
You're desperate?
Yes.
What did you say?
I said, oh, God, you're handsome.
No, you didn't. You didn't say that.
Perhaps because they made up such a large percentage of his audience, Barrymore had a real obsession with the elderly. I suppose, like dogs in old movies, every one of his guests will be dead by now. But the most distressing Barrymore routines are those in which he makes the sudden switch from sexless Granny's favourite to an erotic, sensual being. Mate, just do the funny walks. I don't want to picture you pulling on it. He has got form with upskirting, having also done this with a pre-fame Susan Boyle. That was but one of the thirsty dance numbers on this tape. This one's what comes out if you open the Hellraiser puzzle box. And then, in a powerful combination of the two things 90s mums liked the most, Michael Barrymore does a stripping routine with the Chippendales. Just another quick reminder, this was available to buy in shops. Weirder, the episode this came from was promoted in tabloids at the time, with front pages and even centerfolds, of Barrymore in his latex muscle suit, as if it were his real body. For British housewives, this tape was the 90s equivalent of 50 Shades of Grey. Remember your mum had that copy of Ghostbusters 2 in her bedside drawer. She said she taped off telly at Christmas that nobody else was allowed to watch. Sorry mate, but she's never even heard of Vigo the Carpathian. That special tape was the purest, bluest Barrymore.
So Calvin Klein do pants with extensions?
Yeah. For those people that aren't well endowed, yeah.
In what he himself cites as one of his all-time favourite bits, we get a Kids Say the Funniest Things segment. Perhaps a sneaky audition for that very show, as he'd go on to host the actual series in 1998. Although the presence of a giant teddy gives it the air of a therapy session.
What does your dog eat? What does he like to eat?
He likes curry and he also likes...
Shall we just skip over this?
And, have you got a favourite game that you like playing?
Yes, mums and dads. And sometimes I play outside.
Yeah, so do a lot of mums and dads, is that?
Yeah, let's move on.
Here's Ray and Jan and Mr. and Mrs. Magic Mushroom.
There's huge X Factor audition vibes with this one.
What's your ambition?
Oh, just to play and make people happy.
My ambition for Jan is to have her name as a household word throughout the country. Everybody knows she can really play.
Well, I don't think there's going to be any doubt after tonight.
But of all the memories that do remain, these two are probably the Barrymore show's most infamous guests.
Hello, love. Yeah. What did she say?
She's a trainee now.
You're a trainee, love, are you? Yeah.
More freak show than chat show. There's something massively uncomfortable about the audience laughter and the way it turns everything into a punchline.
Isn't she gorgeous? That's my wife.
Oh, you're married, are you?
Ah ha ha, he thinks the woman he loves is attractive. Look at her. She's no Scorpio from Gladiators, is she? She's no Kim Tate.
Let's get it on the... Go on, son.
The variation on the interviews is wild. One-man bands, gnomes, yodelers, and now...
If you don't have a bra fitted, you haven't lived.
a bra fitter.
This is nice.
Oh, well, yeah, it's warm. And you don't want to waste that, put it in my pocket. Have you brought any bras along with you?
Can we have, I have.
Yeah, can we have a look?
I love the thought process behind this. So we're putting together a really naughty, saucy video. What's rude? What's sexy? Someone dig out that time he talked about bras. That's where boobies live.
Some women are just wearing nipple warmers.
But he did have a broad appeal. Men, women, young, old, elderly Boy Scouts.
And when the talking's all over and done with, you just gotta dance.
It's here we arrive at what initially seems like standard Barrymore fare. Children in army fatigues, the cover of a lesser-known Elvis song.
Do you ever get one of those days when there's no time on the rack? Rack.
After the first verse, it's meant to be that they're repeating the song in different languages. The audio mix is pretty bad, but instead of actual foreign tongue, it's just each country's most racially stereotyped words, like a Sun Reader's take on the brilliant Kenneth Williams routine.
Du blanc tendre restaurant Jacques Cousteau
For example, Barrymore's French rings some laughs from the word we, which is English for piss, while this is the Italian version.
Italiano, Calaloni, a fettuccine, a minestrone, bologna.
Ice creams, gondolas. He's hitting every beat of how your dad imagines he'd chat up Sophia Loren. If you didn't catch that bit about ice lollies, the lyrics are, we just brought out a new Irish one. It's called a Mick on a Stick.
We just brought out a new Irish one, it's called a Mick on a Stick.
From here we reach the Japanese section. Let's just watch it all the way through first, and then we'll discuss it.
Japanese tenko, that's all. Pizza bougie, very reliable. Hello British Johnny, you like my takeaway? You asked me for one crack, I'm you like a mummy chicken, what is true to say? But there is one piece that you'll never take away.
Fuck my arse. Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. The lyrics are pretty indistinct, but because of course he did, Barrymore released this as a single in 1986, under its title, Did Ya Ever? The sound from this version is much clearer.
Meets a bullshit, a very liable, Hello, British Johnny, you like my takeaway? You asked me for prawn crack, I mean, not have it today. You like my chicken, that is true to say. But there is one piece that you never take away.
Ah yes, prawn crackers. That famous Japanese takeaway item. One bit on the video is clear as a bell though. He's gone the full Benny Hill. And the placement of the fingers during the dance. It's definitely meant to imply...
Ah, naughty little Chinaman, no peeking.
Sort of doing it, but not really, but kind of doing it. Some of the kids are even doing the face. There are Asian children in that group. What do their parents think? Dropping them off to rehearse with Barrymore, proudly turning up to watch and getting arse'd as the audience shriek in hysterics. Once again, I remind you this is a best of VHS. A format specifically invented for things to be re-watched over and over again. The song is right near the end, like it's the main event. And along with his big show closer of Vera Lynn's We'll Meet Again, it was a regular Barrymore number for over a decade, often seen on royal varieties and the like. Last month I posted a clip of it on Twitter, accidentally inciting a pitched battle in the replies. 250,000 views, people calling me a snowflake, saying I was trying to get a shag by virtue signalling, bemoaning the lack of proper comedy and great showmen like Michael nowadays, total strangers calling each other pedos. In the ceaseless culture war, old footage of Michael Barrymore making his eyes go slitty is the equivalent of a 50 megaton nuke, from which there can be no survivors. Bear in mind this comes from the mid-90s and not the 1970s. Although as late as 2001, television was still giving celebrity travelogues to Japan titles like this. And it was just a couple of years after this video was released that Challenge TV gave us Endurance UK.
A cheeky nightmare. Which of my yellow sidekicks do you most fancy?
Straight from that hate crime to the Pirates of Penzance.
And the very model of a modern Major General. Well, sort of thing you wear between your legs, is it?
That brings us to the end of the tape, but not before...
That's nearly it for the best bites. We've got a few naughty bits to show you, and then we'll end on one big best bite. All right, have a look at the naughty bit first.
Oh, we're getting to the offensive stuff now, are we? Though it will be interesting to see what the big man considers the best bite of all of the bites. All right, brace yourselves.
There's a gentleman who asked a question, how do you make a woman moan after she's had an orgasm? You wipe your willy on a new curtain. Is that a commercial break? Time for the coffee advert? Can you cross your legs, please, love? We're near the Thames, a lot of ships go past.
Is that it? I was expecting something like that bloke who fished all broken glass out of his hole.
That's the last naughty bit, and one best bite coming up. It's a biggie. I hope you enjoy it.
Oh, here we go, lads. The very best bite. Sadly, we'll never know what this is, as that's where the rip cuts out, adding yet another lost Barrymore treasure for cultural Indiana Joneses to hunt for. But perhaps it's best to leave it buried in the past.
We'll see you when you get there, meet you when you get there. We really care and want to share some time with you. We'll meet you and greet you. We don't want to compete, we're like a team. Sometimes a dream come true. Everybody gets a chance to do what they really want to do. Yeah, what they really want to do.
I'll see you when you get there.
get there.